It's time! It's time! It's Dota time! I'm Zoran, and I'm here for a Reddit Dota 2 League presentation, and I am also joined by Big Fan Ferris!
Hello, everyone.
I'm hoping one day somebody gets my random pro wrestling references. So our two teams are Nobody Cares Europe and the Shitty Wizard. Or Wizards. I wish they had the right name, but apparently Wizards was taken, so now they're individual. They act as one. Bans. Do you want to kick it off with bans, Ferris?
Sure, man. So it looks like Shitty Wizard's going to go ahead and ban Nyx Assassin and Magnus, and Nobody Cares is going to get... Wow, these are really standard bans for once. I'm actually a little bit surprised. Keeper of the Lot and Batrider. So,
yeah,
who does that leave open? I'm going to bet Darkseer.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, even though nobody plays it in this league, would be Wisp, since that is probably the most common fourth ban between those other three in the Western scene, but going to go with Shadow Demon first. Perhaps not usually the first pick, but he's up there in the first three almost every game.
Oh yeah, he's a very strong support. You can't really put him on a team and have him be in a bad position. Yeah. Now this leaves Nobody Cares Darkseer and wow, Wisp. Look at this.
There we go. That's right. Omniscience is me. I am the Omni Knight.
So who do you think are going to pair up with that Wisp?
Well, the in vogue is Chaos Knights, so you'd have to assume him. It'd be I would find it hilarious if the Shitty Wizards did what I've seen in a pro game before, which is counter-pick Chaos Knight just to deny it. But more likely, I'm just going to go with what are the most normal picks, and I don't know, let's see a Lone Druid or a Lifestealer in these picks. Maybe Rubik. Actually, a follow-up stun with Lina or Leshrac would also be pretty normal, because right now we're as standard can be.
I actually saw a really powerful trial lane the other day. I think it was in the DreamHack Invitationals, where it was Shadow Demon, Lina, and Alchemist, and that is just insane if you think about it. You have two follow-up stuns for that Disrupt.
Or alternatively, if you don't even need to use the stun, you go Acid Spray and you just lower the armor to help burst down. But yeah, it seems kind of mean to be able to create a strong tri-lane with Alchemist. I mean, he already has Greevil's Greed to boost his farm ridiculously. To let him be aggressive too is just unfair.
It really is. He's not a hero that needs the kills early game, but when you set him up for it, you know, let's just go ahead and add all the... Wow.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, this is going to be either a Leshrac or a Lina following up the Disrupt from Shadow Demon. And a Lifestealer. Ooh.
Well, so far on the ball, though, I should have remembered Puck. If you watched the G League finals, we saw Puck be the hero of that series, basically being whoever got Puck won every game, and
Puck's
getting to the
really
point of first pick.
Lately. Oh yeah, he's been just insanely popular lately.
Yeah, I personally, I think it's because of the shift in terms of the mids. If we saw, say, a few months ago, especially in the Chinese scene, we'd see a lot of melee mids. We'd see Beastmaster, Brewmaster as the big heroes that were going mid. It was always a melee hero that felt weird. I was like, somebody just picked Queen of Pain, and now everybody's picking Queen of Pain. So with that, Puck is probably the best counter mid, in my opinion, against Queen of Pain, because you actually can't Shadow Strike Puck. You can just phase shift out, and you've wasted your time.
And then they actually banned Queen of Pain. They should be banning Templar Assassin if they want to ban out a mid strong against Puck.
Yeah, and they don't even they should be banning mids, considering that they still need to fill out their own other support role, and Nobody Cares already has the carry, and Darkseer presumably off-laning. So mid is the role, but yeah, Queen of Pain not necessarily the highest value, but always a good hero either way. Like, it's not as if choosing Puck means you win mid against Queen of Pain.
That's very true, but you can also run the Darkseer mid against Puck, and I'm pretty sure he does just fine. You know, those ion shells are never going to be a bad thing, and there's the Templar Assassin ban.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a team to put Darkseer mid against me just because I'm always assuming he's going off lane, not because he can't mid and not because he can't just go sit in the jungle and farm, but because everybody is always putting Darkseer off lane.
I haven't seen him run mid in a very long time, but I mean, he's very good there. Especially Radiant side, just because you can go into that small camp. It's very close.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's along the same lines as Shadow Fiend. Is you get a big advantage by that small camp on the Radiant side. But another reason for Darkseer perhaps not being as popular mid is Templar Assassin not being as a popular mid. He would do better, I guess, in comparison to Puck, he would do actually well against her Burning Down Refractions with Ion Shell, or any other melee hero mid. And again, there seems to be this shift towards ranged mids once again.
I haven't seen a Magnus or a Bruma. Well, Magnus you still see just because Shockwave with Bottle Crowing is insane, and there's really no way to stop it. He's going to get his farm no matter what. Luckily, Magnus has panned out here.
Well, it ultimately Magnus isn't really going to win his lane mid unless something goes wrong on the other side or there's a really weird counter. He can get his farm no matter what in some respect with Shockwave and Bottle Crowing, but that weakens your lanes in some respect. You're tying up the courier, so it's a sacrifice that they're making for Magnus. A reasonable one considering Magnus's skill set, but it's one thing you do have to accept if you're going to run that mag mid, which is really the only place to run him lately.
You really can't run him off lane ever since, what was the patch? It was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Some changes to Skewer, I believe, scaled back a little bit.
Yeah,
you can't really run him in the off lane anymore.
Yeah, Skewer used to be a flat distance of 1200 range, I believe, but now it scales up starting with around 600 or 650, and then it increments up to 1200 at level 4. So at initial range, it's just barely better than just walking away from your opponents.
So they actually banned out Lestrak here. I don't know if they thought that Nobody Cares was going to pick them up here. They don't have any of their... Well, they have IO already. Oh, it's so weird to call him that.
Yeah, just...
I'm going to keep calling him Wisp.
It's so
IO
late.
is just a little bit weird.
I didn't even think of it before they picked... I need to train myself to say IO. Bane in response, which is a little bit of a weird combination with Shadow Demon, but is a common counter pick to Lifestealer, so it's not exactly a weird choice overall, though.
You can actually run Bane mid if you really want to, and put the Puck off lane, and neither of them are going to be hurting, and... Oh god, I'm just confused. So alright, so this is a Windrunner off lane with the Bane, Shadow Demon, Alchemist, Tri-lane. Do you think that's going to be that's going to be defensive? There's not really any kill potential
pretty much
there.
certainly defensive. On the opposite side, laning is always interesting when you have a Wisp, because Wisp is kind of weird in lane. Not necessarily the most useful. Sometimes we see dual mids with Chaos Knight Wisp mid. Occasionally you'll see a defensive tri-lane instead. And then they have Nature's Prophet.
No, their lanes are completely just open. They can run this any number of ways. They could have either the Darkseer or the Nature's Prophet offlane. Both of those could also jungle. And like you said, Wisp and Chaos Knight mid. And then there's always a Lifestealer who can also offlane jungle, or he wouldn't mind safe lane. And Trash Carry player is probably going to be playing him as a carry safe lane farming.
Okay, to start off then, we'll have to check out our players. Up here on the Dire side, we'll take a look at Nobody Cares. So headed out towards the safe lane is the Lifestealer, played by Trash Carry player. Nature's Prophet creates some trees and then walks back into the fountain. Didn't necessarily have to actually walk out that far, but hey, let's do it. And regen some mana. That is Grozima. I'm going to ignore the first and last letters in your name. Headed out towards the mid direction is Bjud on Io. Chaos Knight will join him. It's El Zilko. And in the off lane, it is that Darkseer. It is Geppy or Jeppy. I'm probably going to say those both. the Radiant side. Did you want to go through those, Ferris?
Oh, sure. So we'll have Smack on Puck here, and then for our Bane, we're gonna have Empty Forge. For our Alchemist today, we have what in the world? I'm gonna call him John. And then for Shadow Demon, we have Toast, and for Windrunner, we have Capless. What is Alchemist? Yeah, John. That's your name.
What? Where you live, don't you have a lot of John CKO 3P Goat AST fans?
You know, if I check the phone book, there's probably about 4 of them there. Would not doubt it one bit.
I don't know, I know like 5 guys. They're everywhere. So it will be that dual mid I mentioned with Chaos Knight and Wisp headed out towards mid. Windrunner making her way up to that off lane after cutting through, helping out secure their own jungle. Puck should do just fine here, even with both. Well, I want to pay attention to see if rune control will actually come out well, because with Chaos Knight Wisp, you can just put the bottle on Wisp and hey, you can stay in lane and Wisp can get all the runes for you.
That's very true. Interesting to notice, like the Puck actually went for the bottle rush. It's pretty standard now. There's the Tango and the 3 GG branches, so he's going to get his bottle pretty quick. But neither Chaos Knight or Wisp actually saved any gold towards the bottle, so they're going to be a bit behind there.
Yeah, and as we see the lanes work out, it ends up a 1v1 scenario for the Lifestealer, which is just fine for him. He'll be rather successful up in this lane. On both sides, really, but this is one of the things where I find there's more room to be creative and have a little foresight in the drafting phase. I don't know if you see the same kind of thing, but if you read this correctly on the side, if the shitty Wizards read this correctly, an aggressive tri-lane could have been a big problem for Nobody Cares Europe, because they kind of created a very difficult laning situation, it looks like, but it's not so difficult if you have typical defensive tri-lanes.
That's very true. They've spread themselves kind of thin across the map if you look at it that way. They have the Nature's Prophet in the jungle with the Darkseer off lane here. But there's actually not a lot of pressure on this Darkseer to ever leave the lane, so he's going to be able to farm here just fine. They don't have to split the jungle between him and Nature's Prophet. Both teams, I think Nobody Cares here is going to come out. No, it's got to be this Alchemist. He's just getting free farm.
Yeah, Puck has been having a relatively difficult time here in the mid. Only at 4 last hits. Was going bottle rush, but still doesn't have the bottle. Has enough for it, but hasn't bought it yet or shipped it.
That's a little bit strange. He doesn't have the bottle, and they don't have Flying Courier yet. It's already 2.5 minutes in. Oh, but go ahead, man. Have you seen this middle?
Yep, I have my camera on it. Bane had been hanging out in mid for quite a while. Wisp, an actually really easy target, which for the longest time I didn't have it in my head that Wisp or Io is actually a strength hero, because Wisp just dies if you focus him down.
He's probably got the lowest base strength out of any of the strength heroes. And I mean, he's a support. What can you expect out of him?
Yeah, certainly the
who
Dark...
got that first blood?
Who ended up getting that? I think it was Bane.
Yeah, Bane did get it. I mean, Puck's still going to be happy there.
There's a disruption on Darkseer on bottom, but he gets the Surge away. A Nightmare on him, though, catches him. So Surge is going to be on cooldown for a few seconds, but not really a lot of follow-up. The Alchemist is not committing to chasing him down, and that just pushes him back. Oh, an accidental smoke out of Toast on the Shadow Demon. I'm not sure what he was trying to use. It made perhaps just a Tango, but ends up smoking himself.
You know, I think he might have been smoking to maybe lose creep aggro there. There wasn't any heroes close to him, so he knows he could use it and just get the creeps off of him. But that's probably an accident.
Yeah, almost certainly an accident, in my opinion. If we were going to go into excessive justification, perhaps he was using the smoke to move faster and chase after the Darkseer. But In terms of last hits, the Life Stealer getting a bit of a lead, 25/2 versus the 19/1 on the Alchemist, which, considering he's in a 1v1 situation against a 1v1 hero as good as Windrunner, gotta be happy with that result.
He's Life Stealer's not actually going to pick up the Midas. He had enough money for it just then, and it would have been a pretty fast Midas at 4 minutes, but he went for phase boots first.
I think it's understandable to go with a phase boots build if you go the dual carry approach, where they have Chaos Knight as well. So with that, you're not reliant on going, being the sole carry and having that max carry potential and pushing it late game, but instead just capitalizing on that mid game presence. Because if you're going dual carry, it's kind of hard to both be dedicated to farming as much as possible, and puts a little bit of strain on the other 3 heroes.
It looks like, they're going to go in Chaos Knight here.
Yeah, Haste Rune on Puck, but turns right around. Did that... Okay, there was an Observer Ward planted directly beside the Tier 1.
Darkseer bottom.
It just surges out as well. Oh, the Shadow Demon is down to 17. 8 health, those creeps! Wish he had that smoked now, didn't you? Now behind the tower, Puck diving in with a Haster, not able to get the Darkseer, then runs past the creeps and go walk into the tower. Phase shifts, now Darkseer going in. Puck gets trapped, he goes down. The teleport in from Nature's Prophet canceled, not even necessary. So some weird movement.
My question is, what was Puck doing there?
Haste Rune, man. That means you can't die diving, right?
Just run in. If you have a Haste Rune, you're completely immune to all damage. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I followed the dive. The movement was a little awkward, perhaps a misclick or some confusion with pathing. If he clicked back into his own jungle or something and it took him the wrong way past the tower. Hard to say, but that did not work out.
Definitely didn't. So it looks like Lifestealer's not even going to go for the drums. Typically if you see the phase boots, she's going to go into like a drum, sort of like a movement speed.
Yeah, he's going the in-between, going phase armlet. So this is something I did the other day, because this isn't a normal build I do, but I went Midas and then phase armlet, which worked out. I'm not sure about phase armlet. Well, let me start that over. Phase armlet has been becoming more popular in the pro scene, and Midas less popular overall, so this isn't so unusual to do. It's actually kind of trending.
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 different builds people do on Lifestealer. This is just one of them. I mean, typically you're only going to use 1 Gloves of Haste on them early, so if you get like the Midas, you'll get a phase boots instead of power treads, just because if you have the power treads, it's even more attack speed, yada yada yada, spending more gold on the same thing over and over. So it's still pretty standard. I mean, this is a pretty slow game, but neither team really had any kind of kill potential for their early lanes. It's more just a farm fest for everyone. But this Alchemist isn't really getting a lot out of it. 30 last hits up against 46 on the Lifestealer.
Yeah, what we need to keep an eye on is the levels on the Wisp. So once it hits 6, that's when we should see things pick up. Windrunner, gets sprouted. Looked like she was going to get away with Windrun, but now going to cop some extra damage, but still not enough. The open wound's not exactly timed correctly, and the sprout not helping the Lifestealer do damage. And just moves back and will heal up. Still plenty of regen left on her. And again, back in lanes, there's been some movement, but mostly just resulting in harass. Just the occasional weird little catch out of position. 2-2, closing in on 9 minutes into the game. Looking at last hits, again, Lifestealer leading the way. 50 last hits, so doing very well in this lane. Going to be closing in at about 60 at 10 minutes. Certainly very respectable in that regard. Alchemist, as you mentioned, having a much harder time considering the lane that he's had. Going to regen up using his ult.
Did you catch that solo kill for Darkseer on that Shadow Demon?
Oh no, I just jumped down there just after.
Now, this Alchemist might actually be in trouble.
Oh,
too.
now he's in
Whoa.
trouble. Oh, and the vacuum gets him. The ping to indicate that yes, indeed, Darkseer is on this side of the map, which is unfortunate for Alchemist in that situation. Some auto attacks going out on Io. Nope, Puck going to think better of diving again. Could have phase-shifted out of that last hit, but no big deal. He'll get away on both sides, actually.
There's about 2 kills for both sides that sort of just slipped through their fingers there. Just probably some miscommunication.
Yeah, not a lot
I'm a
of
bit
chase
surprised
potential.
by this Alchemist. He doesn't have acid spray. He's pretty much been free farming. He hasn't really needed the unstable concoction. And you can sort of tell just by the amount of last hits he has. He's on par with their offlane Windrunner.
Oh, he pops that concoction, a disrupt. Shadow Poison on top of it. Oh, he didn't wait on the surge. So some time used up, but looks like he's going to get away anyway as he's level 9. Alchemist is level 8, so the Darkseer is actually out-leveling the Alchemist right now. Not exactly the way, if you're on the shitty Wizard's side, you want the offlane to be going for your opponent.
Definitely not. And you can... This is just amazing. The Alchemist is so far behind right now. This isn't something that you normally see when an Alchemist is being played. Especially if against... He's not had any kind of pressure put on him, really. Just the ion shells coming in.
And he does have a Quelling Blade as well.
Now, it's just that choice of going Unstable Concoction instead of Acid Spray, I believe.
There's a Nightmare out on Io in the river. The invis from Puck going to commit on the Dream Coil. Phase shifts up, but pulled back in by Chaos Knight just as a maneuver to run away, and looks like he'll save his little buddy. But yeah, one thing on the Alchemist, it's been a trend that I've been noticing in this league that a lot of melee carries are foregoing the Stout Shield, which seems to be costing them. As we've seen Alchemist down low a few times, and I missed one over on a dive out on Windrunner while he's trying to talk about that. But Puck going to try and fish off the Prophet. He doesn't know where to go and gets focused down. Now the Fiend's gripped on Lifestealer. Phase shift, armlet toggle gets the Puck. Now some reinforcements from the Darkseer going to try and chase on the Bane. Oh, he actually got Lifestealer.
He toggled his armlet off just to try to, toggle again, but he caught that attack at the wrong time.
For a second there, I thought that was a kill on the other side of the map, and I was calling foul to do that at the same time. I'm focusing on other kill potentials. There's a TP into mid. Looks like they may just be trying to push out this tower. Wisp is closing in on level 6, not quite there. About 1/3 up level 5. What's coming out on the Courier? That is just some more wards. Why am I missing so many kills? Alright. That was right up at...
Playing us all for fools.
And now he's going after the Bane. Nightmare out on Darkseer. Ion Shell works through Nightmare. Makes sense. I just never thought about it. Now Puck going to reinforce. Looks like Darkseer may have overstayed his welcome, but Surge is off cooldown now and going to just barely get away. No, Dream Coil used. That will finish him off. So high... Lifestealer going on Alchemist bottom and diving. He's gonna get him. No, jukes in the trees, gets around, doesn't know it. He's gonna get out. He actually gets away. No TP reactions on the side of the shitty Wizards though. That is. Oh, oh no. He tries to unstable concoction and Lifestealer rages and completely ignores it and kills him. Alright, so we're going to have some pressure here on the bottom tower as the TP in from Nature's Prophet comes in. Treants push up, but a retreat to the shop for a second before going back and putting out some pressure.
this tower is dead, there's no TPs up on the shitty wizards. There's only one up on Puck, and he can't come down here and contest this by himself. Shadow Demon's already down here, but they're not going to be able to stop this.
Yeah, already down. Already down. Perhaps with reinforcements would have been available, but as mentioned, nobody carrying TP scrolls.
Not a single person. But on, Wisp is level
Wisp.
6.
And there it is on Windrunner again. And there's the Reality Rift. Too early, though. Going to try and get away. The Prophet jumps in as well. Reality Rift just barely out of range, and Windrunner going to get away. Windrun is up in 1 second, and there it is. And Wisp had to go back as well. Nightmare on Darkseer. Fiend's Grip. Oh, interrupted by the vacuum. Shackle latches at some weird angle. You never know. One more last hit will do it. Where'd Darkseer go? He does get it. But Chaos Knight rotates in. Fade Bolt and gets the Bane in response. So trading kills there.
I think nobody cares is going to be happy to be taking these trades. And they're going to turn around and just get this tier 1 middle now. They're definitely making the most out of this early game team they've sort of got here.
Yeah, and actually it seems more like the way it was working out was the lanes could have been tough, but they ended up on ahead. So now as we're rotating into the mid game, they already had a strong mid game lineup, so this is just going to make it worse when the shitty wizards are focused on an alchemist who's looking late.
This alchemist isn't really making much of anything. He's second on last hits now. He does have the highest, and he's getting
TP
surrounded.
in. Does that not have vision? Oh, he's gonna tango into the trees. Now TPing out. Was that on cooldown? Like, he took a long time to use that, and gets focused down.
I hadn't checked, but he was sitting there for quite some time, and they should have seen him in the trees to begin with the Nature's Prophet walking past. So they knew he was there. I don't know why he stayed there for so long.
I don't know. Hard to tell with the Fog of War in Dota sometimes. They have some sneaky little pockets. This will be tier 2 on bottom. Just not going to commit to trying to defend this with Alchemist down.
But really, what could Alchemist even contribute to this fight? He doesn't have any points in Acid Spray yet, so he's not going to be doing any AoE damage. He doesn't have any single target damage yet. So, at this point, nobody cares. They can walk around and just take towers wherever they want, and there's not really any kind of reaction from the shitty wizards.
Golden Experience looking around 5k in experience, closing in around 6k in gold. So a clear lead on the side of nobody cares, but not insurmountable. They just need to find a way to get things moving. The difficulty is, if they try and do that, well, Wisp CK can jump on them at a moment's notice.
Well, the Wisp CK combo isn't even a threat, really. If you look at Chaos Knight's items, he doesn't have any upgraded boots. He doesn't have armlet, and we're at 18 minutes in. This should be when Chaos Knight is shining, but he didn't really get a lot out of mid lane. I mean, Puck was probably keeping him off the creeps.
At the same time, if we look at the supports, at least Shadow Demon has got to be a bit careful. He's sitting at level 5 right now.
And they really need the Shadow Demon to do anything to the Lifestealer. He needs level 6. That purge is going to help them quite a bit when it comes to Lifestealer. That on top of Fiend's Grip and...
Oh, there's a disconnect.
Yeah, we can take a look at everything now. So that mech is already up on Darkseer. That's probably been up for about 6 minutes now, I'd say. He had pretty much uncontested farm down there too. In the bottom lane, nobody was really doing much to each other early game. Whew, cannot talk today. So Lifestealer's actually going for a Desolator. He's about 100 gold off from it. Is it 700 or 900 for the recipe?
900, I believe.
Oh, he's 200 off of it then. I'm gonna check that.
It's 900. But there is a fight down here on bottom. Everybody just super clumped up. No wonder they banned the Magnus. Oh, Infest on everyone. The double kill goes to the Nature's Prophet, but a 4-for-0 trade. Hardly even any damage going out on Nobody Cares, and that may just be one bad fight too many as we're closing in on tier 3s now.
I'm not sure that there's any way that the Shitty Wizards can really come back from this. They don't really have the damage output to deal with Nobody Cares mid-game at this point. The only thing they could really do is get the puck in there, get the Dream Coil off, the Waning Rift. But there's not really that much follow-up damage. There's the power shot. We might see it right here.
Shackle on a creep. Cops a power shot and a few tower shots, but nothing beyond that. The one thing we can say is Puck has just gotten his Blink Dagger. So they do have the big initiation with that. So I mean, the perfect engagement, I won't say that is unwinnable. I've seen worse games turn around than this, but definitely in a very rough spot on the Shitty Wizards side. If they can buy the Alchemist space to actually make use of his Grievel's Greed and Midas for long enough, it could eventually turn into a monster. But
It'd be
that's
quite a while for that to happen.
That's a tall task.
Up on Lifestealer now.
And this is where he's just going to be hitting for just huge amounts of damage per swipe.
It really helps the push to getting the armor reduction on the towers. And just look at this positioning. You see the Shitty Wizards is all the way back pretty much in their base.
Oh, the open wounds, vacuum back in, wall. 2 hits and Alchemist is pretty much dead just from that. And just melting the Shitty Wizards. Next target is Windrunner. She'll go down as well. Triple kill on the Lifestealer. 4-for-0 again. There's GG called.
I don't think that was an early GG at all. I would have almost have called that in the last team fight. There's just not really any damage on the Shitty Wizards team for this mid-game. It really all hinged on Alchemist getting that farm, and I'm not sure what happened down there in the bottom lane where he didn't get any of the free farm. The Ion Shell was probably keeping him off the creeps, but you know, it's a pretty quick game. Nobody Cares is going to enjoy that win.
Yeah, 15k in both both experience and gold. So that's usually a good time to call it quits when it's 20 minutes in. Just waiting on the Ancient to explode for us, and we can get you that final game score. There we go. Final GG out of the lone remaining IO. All alone.
He thought it was a good game.
Yeah, Chaos Knight 012, IO 010. So not impactful so much, but the Lifestealer cleaning has 816, Darkseer 627 as we saw Darkseer dominating the early game, and Prophet popping his head in every once in a while. And that's the story of the game. We'll be right back with Game 2 in just a moment.